Hey, Chris, what's going on, man? How are you?
Hey, I'm excited to be here.
Good, good. Welcome to Let's Talk About It podcast YouTube.
Awesome. Great studio. I love it.
Appreciate it, man. So tell me about Buy Local New Jersey. What's that about?
It's a web series that my brother and I created back
Okay.
in 2018. I mean, we realized that all of us shop too much at Amazon,
Right.
and they're not the ones that give back to the local community. So we said, we're business owners ourselves. Let's go around with some of our favorite New Jersey businesses, find out what their origin story is and how we can kind of support them, market them. And we do like a 5-10 minute interview with them to give them kind of a marketing piece. And it's been just so much fun. I mean, we've met over 100 business owners, and I think COVID stopped that for a little bit.
Yes,
And that's
yes, it
when
did.
we got to meet you.
Right,
But
right, right.
it's been fun.
Going back to that first interview that you and I did, we were just talking in the green room, right? I was like, I was chubby, my hair was this way, and he interviewed me. He's like, Jim, just go on, man. Don't worry about it. And I'm like, man, you got me on camera 3 years ago. I'm like, woof, how much things have changed now, right? So
For sure. It's
thank you
nice
for
to-
giving me that.
It's
right?
nice to be in person. And things
Definitely.
have changed so much. I mean, when we talked the last time, interest rates were like basically zero.
Yeah.
Now they've gone up
Well,
like 500 basis points.
500 basis points. Speaking of interest rates, I wanted to talk to you about some financial things because you do have a financial background and you are a research analyst. So I have to make sure we talk about this a little bit because
Sure.
it's real estate, right?
Yeah.
Given the fact that we see what's going on with interest rates and we see supply and demand, right? How is there, do you see any light in the future for where things may change a little bit, right? Given the fact that what's going on right now because we're trying to protect the whole monetary policy thing?
With interest rates?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, already the Fed has priced in rate cuts this year, and the market's expecting interest rate cuts on the short end of the curve. I'm a little bit skeptical because unemployment's at 3.5.
Right.
Still, inflation is above their target. So the Fed has never been ahead of the curve. They're usually
No.
behind. So
I would agree.
I think they're going to drag their feet because they don't want to create another inflation spike. So we'll see if we get the interest rate cuts or not. But
I think they're reflecting from their old charts, right, from the 70s, and they just do not want to see that have happened again, right? So I think, it's unfortunate, but I do think they want to see a little bit more pain, all right, and whatever that means, right?
Yeah.
And then to see once that happens, then we can take it from however one sees it, right?
yeah, I mean, I think there's big problems just with the government. I mean, they've spent so much money, they took on all this debt. How are they going to pay it if
Right.
if interest rates are at 5-6%?
Right,
They actually need interest rates lower. So
right.
at some point, the Fed does want to create a recession, so rates go back to 1-2%.
And I always tell people, right, and not again, however you look at it, what goes up goes down, what goes down goes up, right? So it works in cycles. It's just sometimes going through it can be painful for some, right? So we'll see what happens. I will say, what's the most exciting thing right now? We have a group chat with my investment friends. The sexy thing right now is Nvidia, right?
Of course.
As of this morning, it was down 5%, I think. But we've seen that stock go from interesting numbers to where it is now. And some of us are like, what's the hype about? What's going on? We see this all the time, but it just, for some reason, because with artificial intelligence and that chip, it's getting the notoriety it deserves, right? So I got to give it props to that. So we're always talking about that. Do you have any input or anything about that? About what's
course.
good? Yeah, of course.
I mean, I came into the business in 1997, so I've lived through different bubbles, right?
Right,
I mean,
right,
when I
right.
came in, it was the internet bubble, and Wall Street was saying, hey, the internet's going to put all these brick and mortar businesses out of business.
Right.
They're going to go under. And I think the thesis was actually right. It just took much longer
Right.
than anticipated. And then recently we had the crypto bubble. So
Right.
now we're kind of in this AI bubble. Wall Street's all about stories. People, they'd rather invest in a story than in numbers a lot of the time.
Always. And sometimes in my investment group, right, I tell this guy about the S&P's like, yo, crypto. Like he just bounces off. And my other guy's like, yo, foreign exchange. That's what I'm doing. And so, like you said, the story tells so much more on how one sentiments on how I'm buying and selling in their portfolio. So
Yeah, but I mean, I think it is exciting.
it is.
I don't
it
think
is.
we know where it's going to take us. I mean, I personally have played with ChatGPT. I mean, we do blog posts, and it definitely helps,
Right.
like with productivity. It can help kind of crank out an outline of a story for you, and maybe something that takes you 2 hours to write, it might take you 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And I know people in marketing, they say that it hasn't created like the whole marketing campaign, but in the brainstorming
It helps.
process, yeah,
It does.
it helped them
Definitely
get
brainstorm. Yeah.
ideas. So
It definitely does.
it's definitely a
yeah.
productivity booster. And then where does it take us from there? I mean, there's always the scary side too. But
Yeah, I don't think everybody's like it's gonna kill. I don't think it's gonna kill job. We're a little bit ways from that. I do think everybody said the same thing about cell phones. Remember, we're from the eras of flip phones, and now we have this. So things we just have to evolve. We'll see what happens, but it's exciting to see what's happening. Going back to buy local New Jersey,
Yeah,
right?
sure.
So, what are your favorite 3 cuisines that you like?
oh my gosh, that's pretty broad.
Well, you can only name 3 though, right?
Of course, I love Chinese food.
Okay.
If you want, do you want a restaurant?
Yeah, why not?
Actually, in New Providence, Sichuan Delight is probably one
Is
of
it good?
our favorites.
I've never been there.
Interesting, because I mean, it's been
He said
there.
interesting. How
It's
long-
been there since I was in high school.
Wow.
And
okay.
it focused on Cantonese cuisine, but
Cantonese food.
then
Okay.
it changed owners to actually a lady Lynn that was in Berkeley Heights. I don't know if you remember Oporto Barbecue over
Yes.
there.
Yes.
She was running
yes.
that. She's actually she's Brazilian Chinese, so she was doing Brazilian barbecue.
Chinese.
And all of a sudden it spread like on WeChat, which is like the Chinese kind of WhatsApp,
Okay.
that she was selling Chinese specials out of her restaurant over there, and
Okay.
it blew up. So
Wow.
she actually took over Sichuan Delight and has not only maintained the old menu, but she's added all these Shanghainese dishes, which are amazing.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try it this weekend. I have to. I'm getting better with trusting some of the local representatives with this type of cuisine, just because of the fact that, I'm always quick to run to Summit sometimes, and I go to Fanwood. So I didn't put 2 and 2 together where Cantonese / Asian food would be in New Providence. So I'm gonna definitely give it a shot.
Yeah, definitely. Ask for Lynn. She's the owner, and she can kind of direct you to the authentic dishes, so you can really have the experience,
Yeah,
which is
yeah.
what you want.
Yeah, definitely. It's in that complex where the farmers market, right?
Yeah, the central market.
Central market, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I definitely gotta try it. Oh man,
Yeah,
I'm
you'll enjoy it.
embarrassed.
We
I
can
didn't
all
know
meet
this.
up.
Yeah, I'm
She
embarrassed.
makes these Shanghai pork buns.
Okay.
They make it by hand. I saw the guy doing it in the back once.
Wow.
And they pan fry it. Oh,
Okay.
It's almost like a soup dumpling, but it has a different dough on the outside.
Oh man,
So good.
I definitely gotta try it. I saw you recently interview. You was in you was in Denville. You had an interview with Chico, Mexican
Yeah.
Tex-Mex.
Yeah.
What blew my mind, the food he talked about, it looked good, but he had over 400 tequilas. I mean,
Yes, he did.
I'm just trying to understand that, but like 400, and from my understanding, that's the most in the state of New Jersey.
I think that's correct.
Wow.
It seems like a party atmosphere there, that's for sure. They have like an outdoor space where you can hang out during the summertime, drink your 400 tequilas.
400. I mean, here's the truth, right? I've never been a tequila person, right? I just recently got introduced to it because my sister got married in Cabo. It was last year. I mean, not mess up the dates before she kills me. She got married last year, and I just started. I had samples of tequila. I'm like, oh, okay, all right, this is good. And I started drinking it a lot more. Now, be careful, not a lot more like that. I'm an alcoholic, meaning that when I go out here and there, I have tequila, and I'm getting a new find for it, right? So that's kind of cool.
I mean, I'm pretty much a teetotaler because I have like the Asian red burn when I drink. But
okay.
they did let us sample a tequila, and it was very smooth. I thought it was good.
Yeah, from my understanding, the less preservatives it has in the tequila, the better it is. So yeah, I'm learning. So, but
You
it's
can
kind of cool.
sample some
Yeah.
different ones.
Well, now I got to go to Denver, right? I mean, how often does one go to Denver for tequila, right? Usually we're in Jersey City or Essex County, right? But now
Yeah.
we're going to Morristown for tequila. I mean, Morris County. So that's kind of cool. So, Chris, I mean, both of us, you and I, both local, and so we do a lot of things in town. I like to say, like, we try, like you said, try to give back as much as we can to community. What are as far as community Berkeley Heights, what are your go-to spots or restaurants that you'd like to go over there to?
Oh, Berkeley Heights. I really love that Berkeley Heights has become like a foodie town.
Right.
And it's not, I think the old thought of Berkeley Heights is an Italian town, and it's just a bunch of Italian restaurants. And
Right.
now we have Korean, we have Indian, we have a couple Thai places.
Right.
We have Argentine.
Right.
I mean, it's so cool that you get that diversity. One of my favorites is, I mean, my wife is born and raised in Argentina.
Uh-huh.
So she was excited for Patria Station Cafe to open.
Right.
It's a couple that they were actually professional tango dancers.
Right. I remember when I
and
first met her.
during the pandemic, they decided that they would close their Summit.
Because that's why I
their
met
studio.
her. I met her her
Okay.
at Summit through the Suburban Chambers.
Yeah.
Right. I met her there, and we were going back and forth, and then she was like, "I'm gonna open up a restaurant." I'm like, "Okay, wow." I mean,
I think it's been an experience for them. I mean, it took them longer than they wanted to open.
right. Yeah.
I'm on the Economic Development Committee in Berkeley Heights, and
Okay.
we actually helped kind of smooth the process for them and get them open, which was fun.
Okay.
And her food is, I mean, it's home style, and it's authentic, tastes
is.
great.
Yeah, I love
And
it.
I mean, I think she did a great job just decorating the place. I mean, it feels like you're in Buenos Aires.
And she got it went further once Argentina won the World Cup, right?
Oh,
I mean,
yeah. They
she
went-
had like the
they went
whole
crazy.
thing like 7 in the morning, and 9 o'clock, like you could hear Springfield Avenue.
I'm sure. They had like a tent with 100 Argentines.
But we missed that, right? I love the fact that she was able to bring everyone together, right? Regardless of where you were at in your ethnicity, you knew that she was gonna have the game there, wherever, what time, that time and everything else about it, you was gonna have a good time, drink, eat, and just celebrate, right? So kudos to her for doing that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and I liked speaking of her, I like coffee culture too. That's my go-to spot.
Hey, everyone likes a good cup of coffee.
Good cup of coffee.
The only complaint in town is that there's not seating there, so people can kind of sip there and sit and enjoy.
Well, I guess we have to shop there, so maybe you can expand to get a bigger spot, right?
Yeah,
that
yeah,
would help
for sure.
It's kind of cool too. So usually, like I said, I like to stay local. 908 Athletics, with Tim and Aaron, these guys have helped me a lot. As you know, the market was changing, and I always felt like going to the gym is therapeutic, right? Between them and the coaches, I've got a newfound relationship with these guys because, like I said, when I was going through it, these guys was like, they were trying to stay open during the pandemic, and then even when things change, they were still focusing on, hey, you know what, fitness, and between them and the coaches, I think I have a newfound identity with it, right? Because when I'm going through whatever I'm going through, I go over there, they handle my business. So it's
That's
kind of
awesome.
cool. Yeah, it's kind of
I
cool.
see on your social that you're there very early in the morning.
yeah. Between them and Berkeley Heights YMCA, it's kind of cool to see my daughter at the summit. She has a picture with Natalia Grimes, the Olympic swimmer. So now they did some reconstruction at the Summit YMCA now.
Yeah.
So you see the pictures of all the girls and boys as once from inception when swimming started. What it was like a bunch of pictures of all these swimmers, and it's kind of cool how it's captured. I'm fumbling my words.
Yeah, I mean, I love the YMCA. They
Yeah.
support the local community. They have a lot of cultural events. We just had our Lunar New Year celebration there. They did one in Berkeley Heights, and they also did one in Summit.
Yeah, I
I
saw
mean, they
that,
were
right.
both sold out. So,
Yeah.
I mean, over 1,000 people from the community. I mean, I love that we have a space in town that supports that and brings people together. It's awesome.
Yeah, what's his name did it? Angus and
and
his
Natalie.
wife Natalie. They were. I love those two because every time when it comes to that type of stuff, they always put 100% behind all these type of events. So it's kind of cool. And then you always see Natalie with the pictures and then Angus,
Yeah.
you're like, oh my
She
God.
takes a
look
lot
at
of photos.
Oh, yeah. She takes a
But
lot
they
of
brought
photos.
me onto that committee, and it's the best committee I've ever been on. Everyone stays on point and actually
Okay.
gets things done without a fuss.
Without
So
fuss, yeah.
it's amazing.
Good stuff. So other than Berkeley Heights, I know our neighboring town, New Providence, we just spoke about that earlier with the good restaurant. Any go-to restaurants you like to go to in New Providence other than the one that
Oh
you
man. I mean, since I was a kid, we used to always go to Old Glory for waffles, for the
okay.
Belgian waffle.
Old Glory is...
It's in the complex with Dunkin' Donut and
Yes,
Bakehouse.
yes. Okay, Pancake House. Okay.
Yeah.
So disrespectful. I gotta start doing it. It's just so disrespectful, man. I definitely gotta start doing more.
I've been going there since I was a kid. We would get the Belgian waffle.
Okay.
We would eat a lot back then. So we
Okay.
would go across the street. There used to be a Chinese place called Chen's, and then we would go over there and eat sushi.
When you were younger, you could burn
Yeah,
calories.
not anymore.
Not anymore. You're not doing that anymore. Well, I like the Bakehouse by Joe Murphy. That is a game changer over there. I go there. I always go to I get Bagel Cafe.
Oh yeah.
So Craig, the owner,
Craig is great.
Yeah, he's awesome. He does a lot for the community. So I go there, and I go to Providence Bar and Kitchen. You know, usually little nightlife. I go there, hang out there for a little bit. So there's a lot of stuff going on in Berkeley Heights and New Providence. Excuse me, that was New Providence. In Berkeley Heights, we have Delicious Heights. We have Grain and Cane. Grain and Cane's picking up a lot going on, especially with the outside activities they got going on right now.
Oh, yeah,
so it's
for
gonna
sure.
be. It's gonna be a hitter, I think, this summer. Because
Well, I'm trying to bring a Taste of Berkeley Heights event to Berkeley Heights, and it might be held up there at Embassy Suites. We'll
Embassy
see.
Suites, okay.
But I mean, Grain and Cane does a fantastic job. Great food.
The ambiance is really nice.
Yeah.
So he's done a good job with that. So yeah, shout out to Shane for doing all that stuff over there. Yeah, man. So thank you so much for coming on. Let's talk about it. I was like, I gotta bring Chris on. He's doing all this buy local New Jersey. You wear many hats. You do so much for the community, and I'm like, why haven't Chris been on my show? Like, what's going on? Like, what am I doing here? And I want to say thank you for taking the time to come on my show to, show us what buy local New Jersey is all about, and how you plan to expand it some more by asking others to jump on it to do what they need
Thanks
to do.
so much
Right?
for having me. I mean, one of the things that we loved about Buy Local and what we found is that every single business gives back to the community.
Right.
I mean, I don't think people really appreciate that enough.
No.
And it's like the people live in town, the people's kids go to school in town. If you spend your dollars locally, it compounds, it just keeps on cycling within. If you spend money at Amazon,
Amazon
it
has
gives
it, right? Yeah,
Bezos another super yacht that he
Right.
doesn't need.
Yeah. I'm always a firm believer, you got to go local because you can't ask them to do things if you're not contributing to the cause, right? I always feel like you just got to do what you got to do with that. So kudos for you. I don't know how you do it and how the time you have to do it, right? Because you wear many hats, and I'm like, I just see you out there. I'm like, wow, when does he sleep? But apparently you do a good job at it. So kudos to you and your brother,
We
man.
gotta squeeze in as much as we can out of life.
Oh, you do a good job about that, right? You definitely
Thanks.
do a
I
good job.
think you
with
do
that, man.
too.
Yeah, I try. Again, thank you so much for hopping on. Let's talk about it. I look forward to seeing you some more, man.
Yeah, thanks so much, Jimmy.
All right.
That was awesome.